अस्सलाम वालेकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। गुड मॉर्निंग टू ऑल द पार्टिसिपेंट्स। आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, फिर एक बार हमें आज आपने ज्वाइन किया। आज की क्लास जो है वो वाजिद साहब लेंगे। उनकी क्लास जो है वो रिक्रिएशनल एक्टिविटीज एमिड कोविड को लेके है, नीड एंड इट्स बेनिफिट्स। मैं चाहूँगा कि आप चैट में याद रखें कि अपना नाम, प्लेस ऑफ पोस्टिंग और डिजिग्नेशन लिखें, अपना माइक म्यूट करके रखें, अपना वीडियो ऑन रखें। ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है, गिवन द फैक्ट दैट we are witnessing a situation that's beyond our control, and this situation has forced us to stay indoors. और इससे जो असर हुआ है सबसे ज्यादा बच्चों पे ही हुआ है। तो उसी मतलब सब्जेक्ट को टच करने के लिए वाजिद साहब हमारे साथ हैं। विदाउट वेस्टिंग मच टाइम, वाजिद साहब से मैं दरख्वास्त करता हूं कि वो अपना टॉपिक शुरू करें। एंड ही इज सपोज्ड टू रन अ पीपीटी। वाजिद साहब, आर यू गेटिंग मी? Wajid Saab, are you there in the room? Wajid Saab?
Wajid Bashir. Yes, Wajid Bashir is there, sir. उनको unmute कीजिए. Maybe he is not able to unmute himself.
Right. नहीं, मैंने तो म्यूट नहीं किया था सबको अभी, मैंने वो सेटिंग हटा दी थी। Give me 1 second. Wajid Saab, am I audible?
Okay. Yes, you are audible. Very much audible.
You start. Please start.
Okay, dear. So, Assalamu alaikum and good morning to all of you present there. So, before starting my topic, I would like to congratulate Department of Youth Services and Sports for their valuable efforts for organizing such a wonderful program. And personally, I would congratulate the team involved in this particular program. So without wasting too much of time, I would like to start my topic, which is recreation, its needs and its benefits. So far as the topic is concerned, we have already understood in our training programs, during our training programs, what basically recreation is. Whether it is a bachelor, whether you have done a bachelor's degree or a certified diploma holders, or you have a master's degree in physical education, you are well acquainted with the knowledge of recreation. So let us discuss what we have actually studied in our past. So what is recreation? So I have made a little PPT. So I would like to share this PPT with you people so that you can understand what is the impact of recreation during this period which we are facing, which is very alarming, and the situation is very, very grim outside there. So recreation is very important. I think Shabir sir, you have disabled me to share the screen.
No. Actually, I enabled the setting. मैं आपने पहले ही बोला था मुझे शेयर करना है, तो मैंने शेयर किया है. You can multiple participants can share. You can share.
Okay, you can share it for me.
Okay.
Okay, just go for. Okay, dear.
This is the presentation show. जब आपका सर स्लाइड खत्म हो, you just tell me next. बस मैं next करता रहूँगा.
Okay, dear. So,
is it visible? Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes. Very much visible.
Okay, go on, sir.
Okay, dear. So far as the recreational activities are concerned, we know what are the recreational activities and what are its needs and benefits. These are two terms, needs and benefits. Need is something When we are actually, when we lack anything, need occurs. You have read Maslow's need theory, which suggests that needs occur there is a step-by-step progression of needs and individual's life. So that is the need. When you lack something, you need it. Suppose you need food, you need shelter. So that is need. When we talk about benefits, what we are getting from recreational activities, or sometimes, or we can say, advantages. What we get from these activities, what are its effects. So this is the topic today which we are going to discuss. Shibir sir, next slide, please. So from Oxford Dictionary, recreation, if we literally speaking, what recreation is, enjoying yourself and relaxing when you are not working. You see, you use your leisure time in activities which you can while you can get enjoy yourself, while you can amuse yourself rather. So that is recreation. We all know what are the different type of activities, whether it is outdoor, activities which are outdoor, indoor, physical activity, or we have you see online activities, offline activities. So there are different type of activities which actually recreate us. So that is the literal meaning of what recreation is according to the Oxford Dictionary. So we can say it refresh our bodies, it energizes your mind, and it energizes your, you see, feeling of fullness. You energizes, you actually feel much more vigor. So that is recreation. You see, we have discussed it in past lectures. Mind is something different and brain is something different. These are two different things. We cannot compare mind with brain. Mind is a physiological term, while brain is a psychological term. You see, while in research psychology, we go with 0.95 percentage scale, where the chance of error is 0.05. While in medical science, point of error is 0.001. Suppose anyone who is actually, I mean to say, who is inventing a medicine, so error should be very, very marginal. Their chances of error is very, very minimum. So while in social sciences, chances of error could be much larger in comparison to the error in scientific world. So that is what mind and brain is. So it refreshes brain, not mind. Although it can refresh brain as well, but here we are talking what it has the counter effects. What are its counter? What can it do in the later stages of your life? So it refreshes mind while you use your leisure, time in enjoyable and interesting things like swimming, meditation, playing games, dancing, reading. These are the ways through you can recreate yourself. This is a literal meaning what recreation is. Next slide, please. Now we have types of recreation. So on the basis of certain phenomena, we have divided recreation into different types. Some people have divided recreation as an active recreation and as well as passive recreation. While we talk about what is active recreation. Active recreation means when a person himself gets direct participation in the program, or when his participation is not limited, when the participation is very maximum, when he is wholly involved in the program, his appearance is quite visible there. So when he himself takes the part in the program, that is active recreation. Like we have given the example as skiing in bays, we are kayaking down through rivers, skiing, or you see playing football. These are actually while when individual take directly part in the, you see, active recreation. Now we discuss about what is passive recreation. Passive recreation involves where your participation is very, very much limited. Suppose you watch a movie on a television, so you are just there a mere spectator. So that is the passive recreation. And you see, we see a site, we actually see a site, a wonderful pictures around us, we see nature, we see different type of, we see different type of things around us. So that is sightseeing. We can recreate, but we are passively recreating ourselves. We are not taking directly participation in that particular program. So these are two different things. Another classification is general and specific. What is general? Generally, we have different type of recreational activities like blind man's buff, hopscotch, caterpillar, two dogs, one bone, who is king, in the bank, on the tank. These, we all know what these types of activities are. And when we talk about specific recreation, you see, as a physical educationist, we devise certain programs during our classes, and we try to recreate children. We try to you involve children in programs which we actually can devise. So it is specific to the game. Either one way they can get recreated, and on the other way they can get educated as well. So that is specific, which is I mean to say, specific to a particular situation, specific to a particular game. These are other way of classification. Next slide, please. Yes, now what is the need of recreation, which is the main topic. You see, before discussing the need, you see, you need to understand why we need to recreate. You see, if we talk about what is personality, personality is there has been so many theories put forward by psychologists. Some were having considered this personality on the basis of traits which we acquired from our forefathers, from our ancestors, while certain psychologists have given weightage to the environment, to the social attributions. So that is why there have been so many you see, theories regarding the personality. So when we talk about personality, we need to understand what is the role of you see, recreation in the personality of a child. So we need to understand them. So you see, this word recreation in the literature has been interchangeably used by so many psychologists. Some psychologists told, I mean to say, suggested that these are the theories of recreation, and some say these are the theories of play. So this word recreation is very much linked with play. So that's why play is a natural thing, natural tendency of a child. Every child wants to play, every child wants to recreate. So in this alarming situation, it is very, very important that we need to understand the psychology of a child at his level. We need to understand how we can accommodate child in different type of recreational activities during this course of pandemic, which is going around the world. So we need to understand what are the various theories. We have surplus theory, which you have already, I guess you have already, read this in your courses, in your you see, training programs. Anticipation theory, which you have displayed here, and similarly we have back slide, please. Previous slide. Yes. Okay. So anticipation theory. Then we have instinct practice theory, catharsis theory. So there are much more theory. We psychologists have categorized classical theories, modern theories. So there are a lot of theories, but the main crux, main focus is that child is possessing a certain type of energy, which he wants to use, which he wants to actually spend during its developmental stages. And when we become as an obstruction, when we act as an obstruction, his personality will get destabilized. So it is important that we should give ways to the child so that they can actually spend that particular energy, which has been termed as libido, which is a stored energy in the child. So every individual has this energy. So it is that's why we need to understand how child can use these energy, and how can he develop a good, well-developed personality. So overall, the impact of recreation is on the personality of a child. It is very, very important from the psychological point of view. And in the situation we are prevailing at this time, it becomes very imperative for everyone, every individual there, to actually think what is happening around us and how are the ways we can get out of it. Next slide, please. You see, psychoanalytical theory, Sigmund Freud is a renowned world psychologist. He was a very, very great psychologist. Personally speaking, he was basically a physician. Later on, he developed a psychologist. He turned into a psychologist after studying the nervous disorders in the, you see, in the, after studying so many nervous disorders, his emphasis turned into the psychology, in the field of psychology. And he developed that mind has 3 layers. One is conscious level, second is preconscious level, and third is unconscious level. What is conscious level? Conscious level is something which you are aware about it, which you know, which you actually, which is reflective, which is actually apparent. So that is conscious level, which you know what is happening around us, which you can understand what type of personality a person is. That is conscious. You are conscious about the things. That is conscious level. What is preconscious level? Preconscious level is that type of level. Suppose sometimes you stress on a mind. So when you stress on a mind, you want to remember the name of an old friend. You simply pay a low level of stress on your mind, and that memory just floats up, and that's at that time you can say that that is the preconscious level. You are not aware about the things, but when you put stress on your mind, this memory actually floats and you can display it. Second is the unconscious mind. Unconscious mind is, this is the third level we are talking about, and this level is totally different. You see, I mean to say, in the sense that from the above two, that it is very much submerged. We can't actually I mean to say, we can't say what type of person a person is. It occasionally floats. When there is an awkward situation, occasionally this unconscious level floats from a child, from a person. So this is the structural aspect of personality, and Sigmund Freud says that the personality of an individual is like this. We have here, you see, there is unconscious mind, which is submerged here. You see preconscious, then we have conscious. Id, ego, and superego. These are 3 things. On the basis of this conscious, preconscious, and unconscious levels of an individual, he developed the structural aspect of personality. And that is the structural aspect is id, ego, and superego. You consider an example. I will try to understand you what is ego, superego, and id. You consider an example of a horse rider who is having a rope, who actually, id is the example of a horse who wants to go away from the rider in any direction. So that is the id, who want to get his needs fulfilled by any way, any means. Then we have superego. Superego, rather discussing superego, let us first discuss ego. Ego is something which actually, you see, okay, superego. We go for superego. Superego is something which actually keeps you, which actually hesitates you not to indulge in such activities which will harm you, which will you actually refrain, you actually restrict yourself for doing such activities which could harm you, which could defame you. That is superego. That is example is the rider himself. So ego is the balance, which keeps the balance on both id and superego. That is the example of a rope. So rope is maintaining the balance between, you see, rider as well as, you see, the horse. So that is the structural aspect of the personality. Why we are discussing these things? Because we need to understand from a psychological point of view what is the personality of a child, what is the personality of an individual, what is the role of a physical educationist during this present pandemic. So we need to understand what our role is. It is very inevitable that we need to understand what we have, what the part we have to play in the society in general and in our home in particular. So next slide, please. So after developing the structural aspect, then he went to the functional aspect of personality. He has actually distinguished 5 stages of a child in the child development. While we have oral stage, when a child sucks his thumb, when a child actually takes everything in his mouth, so that is the oral stage. If the child is stopped doing this thing, if the child is stopped, his personality will become destabilized. It is according to the Freud, what Freud says. If a child is stopped about sucking his thumb, his personality will get destabilized. So second is the anal stage. So child feels pleasure touching his excretory organs and plays with his facial matter. So this is the anal stage. Now we have phallic stage. Phallic stage is something when a child is very much attracted to the opposite sex. I mean to say, when the child is attracted towards when a baby, I mean to say, who is a boy child, is attracted towards his mother. So that is Oedipus complex. And when it is Electro complex, when the baby girl child is attracted towards her father, so that is natural process. So this is phallic stage. Latency period, when the child enjoys himself playing with the same sex children, going out there and playing with the same sex children. Then we have genital. You are very much acquainted with this thing, that genital period is the period of adolescence, and there is hormonal secretion everywhere because there is a secondary sexual characteristics develop at that time. So that is the development is taking place at a very rapid pace at that time. So that is the genital period. Now, if a child during these stages of development is prohibited to do you is stopped to do any type of activity, his personality. Now here the role of a moral education is very, very important. You see, during genital period, moral education is very important. As a moral education, as a moral leaders, as we physical educationists, our role becomes very, very important. We need to understand how child is feeling any type of stress, how child is developing stress, what are the ways we can overcome this stress, what activities we can force so that on a child, so that he can recreate and he comes out of that developmental stress problems. So this is the functional aspect of personality. Next slide, please. Now, I told you before this that personality is the product of hereditary and environment. So hereditary is something which is acquired from our forefathers. So trait theory. So some psychologists like Kretschmer, Sheldon, they have given trait theories. Yeah, I mean to say this Alport, Cattle. These all psychologists have given trait theories. They have devised, now the recent one is the Big Five theory. So these theories tell that traits are passed, whether these are passed from your environment, whether these are passed from from your forefathers, so your personality gets developed. Now this was all about how the development process took place. Now what are the benefits? This is the need. Why we need recreation? Recreation is very important. Play is very important for a child. So now we have to discuss what are the benefits. What sort of benefits we can get from recreation. I told you in the start of my lecture that benefits are the advantages. How it is going to advantage your body. That is the first is the physiological benefit. That is, you see, in the previous lectures given by the other speakers, they talk about vital capacity, and they talk about hypertrophy. They talk about I mean to say capillaries in the blood vessels in your body. See, certain I mean to say, how can you develop vital capacity from the scientific point of view? If we say what is vital capacity, how can it can become bigger? It is basically I mean to say there are certain dormant alveoli in the you see lungs which are inactive. When we do exercise, these inactive alveoli become activated, and that's why oxygen capacity is actually developed. You see, we don't actually force air into ourselves. Actually, we just contract and relax. We have different muscles which are involved with this, you see, contraction and relaxation of lungs. We have, I mean to say, intake and oxygen, intake and outtake of oxygen or air. We have different muscles involved. We have intercostal muscles, which are connected with chest, which are connected with your vertebral column and your lung lobes. And we have muscles which are connected with your diaphragm and which are connected with your lung lobe. So when these muscles contract and relax, that at that time air gets in. It is not we take air. Air is not actually we force air ourselves. It is the contraction of those that muscles that leads air to get in, that leads to get out. So this thing we should know. Second thing is that I told you that there are certain neurochemical transmitters which are released when we do activity, when we do certain type of walking, when we do certain type of running. So few minutes after running, certain neurochemical transmitters like endorphins, you see, they work like morphines, which are opiates. I mean to say, they actually they are having the sedative type of nature. They actually, I mean to say, they suppress our nerve stimulations to a certain extent. So at the time, these neurochemical transmitters give a message. You see, they give message to the body, and pain management is created there. Actually, when we run, we will feel pain. So pain management is done by these neurochemical transmitters. They give a signal, they give a message, they suppress these nerve stimulations, and that's why we don't feel pain when we run. And secondly, they give a pleasure sensation. You see, whenever you run, you after few minutes you will laugh, you will feel excitement. That is at that time neurotransmitters like endorphins, which we actually know, which is the second name, which is having the second name, runner's high. So at that time, these neurotransmitters act as an like just like morphines do, which are banned in the world of sports. Morphines, which is uh, I mean to say, which is a drug which sports athletes use in order to relax themselves. So these they work. These are natural, you see, transmitters. They actually give pleasure feeling in the body. And then we have hypertrophy. Hypertrophy in the ventricular region of heart. Hypertrophy took place in, I mean to say, there is a development, myofibrils are present in the muscle cells. They actually, their size increases. And you see these muscle fibers, their size increases. That is the one of the advantage. And because you need to, you see, you need to actually transmit, you need to actually, I mean to say, translocate different blood to throughout the body. So that is why you need a good muscular heart. That is why you have athletic heart. And that's why hypertrophy takes place in your ventricular region of heart. So particularly in the left ventricle. So there also in the muscles, hypertrophy do take place when we regularly exercise a particular muscle. So again, there is another concept, bradycardia, and we have tachycardia. Bradycardia means slowing heart rate, slow heart rate. Athletes do have slow heart rate. Tachycardia means increase in heart rate from the normal range, which is 72 beats per minute. So that is another medical condition, or sometimes we can say athletic condition, when a person involves himself in the world of physical science and sports. So then we have the psychological benefits. You see, relaxing mind avoids tension, balanced personality, reduces anxiety, saves adjustment, maladjustment. Maladjustment is a very, you see, common problem in children with adolescents, because they want to remain isolated. They are involved in their own, you see, process of development. As they remain isolated, they want to get anything by hook or by crook. They don't give weightage to other persons. That's why they suffer maladjustment is there. So it is the role of a physical education, a mother who is the actually the first seat of education for a child. It is her role to actually control, to actually morally educate a child what to do, what to not do, what are the ways through which we can adjust ourselves in the society, in the school, in the college, in the home. So it is actually benefits of recreation is the child actually uses that particular energy into recreational activities, and that's why he becomes more social over the time. He becomes very friendly. He actually develops cooperation. So when he gets involved in recreational processes, so that's at that time we can say the child can become psychologically stable person. So it can also help in coping the prevailing situations of COVID, which we are facing today. Recreation through offline mode, through online mode. What are the different modes we can recreate ourselves? Plays has a positive effect on the personality of a child, on the health of a child. So it is a recommendation after when this inshallah COVID will end. You will see there will be a guideline from the education department that you need to get involved children more and more in play, because they are facing a lot of turmoil. You will see a lot of suicides there, a lot of heart failures are there. So that's why the role of a physical education teacher becomes very important. Such we are physical educationists. We are not simply drill teachers. We are physical educationists, and you should understand it is a teaching profession. We have to teach every individual what is good, what is bad, what is good for the society, what is bad for the society. It is a prime role of every physical educationist.
Wajid
So
sir,
then we
are left with
okay.
2 minutes on, please.
Okay, with this I conclude. Hope
No, you can continue this slide. Continue. We are left with 2 minutes.
Okay, dear. So adjustment is a very common phenomena. We need to adjust. We need to adjust ourselves with the society. People should get adjusted. Psychosocial problems, like you see, there are certain psychological children having the psychological problems. Our role becomes very important there. So we need to treat according to the situation of an individual, according to the nature of an individual, and suggest the type of recreation according to the need of an individual. So with this I conclude. Thank you very much, Shabib sir.
Thank you. Well, you just completed in time. This was the last slide actually I was playing for you. So
it was actually Thanksgiving slide.
That's here. That's the last one.
Oh yes.
Thank you very much for this nice lecture. It actually covered all the aspects of recreation, its benefits and need. What's the need and what are the benefits? Would like to conclude my lecture here at the end. Would like to thank all and would like to invite Abida ji for a quick word so that she can wrap up. We are left with 1 minute.
Yes, thank you so much, Wajid Saab. It was full of knowledge. Maybe मेरे हिसाब से recreational activities इतने अच्छे से दोनों aspects में कोई cover नहीं कर सकता था. Because in recreational activities हम fishing भी कर सकते हैं. That is also recreational activity. But we have to understand there are two types of recreational activities जो वाजिद साहब बोलने की कोशिश कर रहे थे. One is active and another is passive. If we will go for fishing, that is also recreational activity, but that is passive type of recreational activity. वाजिद साहब के कहने का नटशल में इतना मतलब था कि हमें एक्टिव रिक्रिएशनल एक्टिविटीज इस टाइम ज्यादा करने की जरूरत है, ताकि उसमें हमारे फिजियोलॉजिकल एस्पेक्ट्स यानी कि जो भी हमारी बॉडी में सिस्टम्स हैं वो इन्वॉल्व हो सके, उनको भी हेल्प हो सके. तो दैट वाज ऑल. इट वाज फुल ऑफ नॉलेज. आई अगेन थैंक यू वाजिद साहब. इट वाज अ ग्रेट लेक्चर. आई पर्सनली एंजॉयड इट अ लॉट. Thanks all the participants for listening to it very keenly, very carefully. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Shabir Sahab, over to you.
Thank you very much. We're left with some seconds. I will keep the window on. जिन्होंने chat window में अपना नाम, place of posting वो designation नहीं लिखा है, वो please वहाँ पे enter करें and window will automatically close within some seconds. Please do it. Thank you very much for joining us.